Mom cancels her daughter's Sweet 16 because she was bullying other kids. Originally posted by sensitive host 7050 in r Am I the Asshole on November 28, 22. Updated December 15, January 12, 23 and January 13, 23. Cat fact to avoid spoilers. If you find kittens alone, watch them for a bit before you rescue them. Mama cats will leave their kittens to go search for food or scout for a better nest for her babies. She may move her babies to the new spot, but she has to do this one at a time, which means leaving the remaining babies alone while she does it. So, before rescuing abandoned kittens, watch them for a few hours to make sure Mama isn't coming back for them. Unless they are in immediate danger. Trigger warning: homophobia, bullying, suicide attempt. Less than. Original post. AITA for canceling my daughter's Sweet 16 after I discovered her behavior at school. My husband, John, 45M, and I, 41F, have a daughter, Madison, 16F. Ever since she was little, Madison dreamed of having the perfect 16th birthday party. Since Madison had always been well-behaved, we decided that we would throw Madison the birthday party of her dreams. We both have financial stability, so cost wasn't an issue. We put months of planning into this party. Madison's actual birthday was on Monday, and we had a small family dinner at her favorite restaurant to celebrate since her actual birthday party was scheduled for 3 weeks from now. Everything was perfect until Wednesday, when my husband and I were called into a meeting at Madison's school. We were surprised to discover that Madison was suspended for her involvement in aggressively bullying a transgender classmate, Kelly, who had recently attempted to do something that I'm not allowed to say on this post. I'm ashamed to admit that I didn't believe it at first. But after I forced Madison to show me her phone so that her father and I could look through her texts and social media, I was shocked to discover that not only was Madison involved, but she was the ringleader of a group of girls in her grade that bullied her. There were texts of Madison telling Kelly that she would never be a real girl and asking if she still had a penis. There were plans in the private group to pull Kelly's pants and underwear down in the middle of the cafeteria to prove that she was a man. I also found posts on her social media where she referred to transgender women as perverts and troons. I am not sure what this means, and said that they would never be women. John and I were disgusted by Madison's behavior. We raised our children liberally and consider ourselves LGBT allies. And Madison in particular has always been an outspoken feminist like me. When we got home from the meeting, we talked it over and decided that not only would Madison have no electronics for the rest of the year, but we would be canceling her party too. We wouldn't get the money back for the venue and most of the arrangements we made already. But we decided that this is what needed to be done. We informed Madison of our decision yesterday and she lost it, telling us that we were terrible parents for canceling her Sweet 16 over a boy, and that we were punishing her for speaking her mind when it wasn't her fault. Kelly did what she did. She begged us not to cancel it and said that this was her dream. But I told her that her behavior didn't warrant having the party of her dreams. She went back to her room crying. We thought we did the right thing, especially when we told our 2 older daughters. But when we called John's mother, Shannon, and told her that the party would be canceled and why, she called us awful parents for crushing her dreams this way. Now we're having second thoughts. AITA? In the comments. NTA. You said that she considers herself a feminist. Has she been reading up on TERF posts? It could explain her transphobic rhetoric. I did see the word TERF used on some posts, but I'm not sure what it means. Note: TERF means trans exclusionary radical feminist. an advocate of radical feminism who believes that a trans woman's gender identity is not legitimate and who is hostile to the inclusion of trans people and gender-diverse people in the feminist movement. Troon is a combo of trans and cartoon or trans and goon. In Ta, her behavior requires canceling her party. I would not be opposed to more punishment as she has dug her heels in and doesn't think her behavior needs to change. Relieve her of that notion. What else would you suggest? We have already taken her electronics away and don't plan to give them back until next year. I mean, next year as in a full year from now. Sorry for the confusion. Find a therapist who can talk to people who have been sucked in by cults. Because if she is using words like troon, she is deep in this hate cult. Thank you. It does seem cultish. We absolutely plan to start her in therapy and are looking into it right now. As far as I know, the other girls have all been suspended, too. I think that Madison's suspension is longer because she was the ringleader. But I'm not sure. And yes, we are banning her from ever spending time with those friends again. Thank you. First update in our True Off My Chest. My daughter said that she wishes I was dead. My daughter, Madison, 16, began therapy last week to address her behavior. She organized a bullying campaign against a classmate and posted harmful social media posts for context. She has not been adjusting to therapy well because she believes that she did nothing wrong. And this has resulted in arguments between her, myself and my husband. If anything, I think this has caused her to double down on her behavior. This morning we got into an argument because I discovered her trying to steal her confiscated cell phone from my husband's office. I took the phone back from her and planned to put it in his safe along with our other valuables. But she threw a fit when I took it and started to scream at me that she hates me and wishes I were dead. I have plans to tell Madison's therapist, but I'm distraught by what happened. I keep sobbing and even woke my husband up from how loud I was. I never thought that one of my children would say this to me. I don't know where I went wrong, but I feel like a fool for not noticing this behavior sooner. Second update. My daughter said that she wishes I was dead. Previous post. I wasn't going to post an update, but I felt that I owed it to all of the people who responded to my previous post. I'm sorry to report that Madison has only doubled down on her behavior in the weeks since my last post. She's now refusing to talk to me unless it's about dinner or to bully me into handing over her electronics. She has started at a new school this semester because we wanted to keep her away from her victim and the friends that she organized the harassment with, and she hasn't adjusted to it well. As far as I know, she has made no friends yet. But my husband, John, and I are refusing to transfer her back to her old school, and this frustrates her. We also refuse to give her electronics or social media back to her. And it will stay that way for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, she blames Kelly, the girl that she bullied, for everything that's happened. And it seems to have made her hatred for her worse. She has said a lot of derogatory things about her, including slurs. So John and I have discussed with her therapist about enrolling our daughter in a LGBT sensitivity workshop aimed at teenagers. We have also discussed taking her to see a psychiatrist, and we have an appointment made for Tuesday. I wish I could say that things have improved, but my husband and I have formed a plan to get my daughter the help she needs. I hope to be back again with a more positive update next time. Third update in our ASKLGBT. What steps can I take to help my daughter realize that her actions were wrong? She was active in TERF communities and aggressively bullied a transgender classmate. I posted about this on our Am I the Asshole? Since removed, and our True Off My Chest. And a user from our True Off My Chest privately messaged me and recommended that I post on this Subreddit for advice. My apologies if this doesn't belong here. Please tell me if I should remove it. If you are triggered by mentions of violence, suicide attempt, sexual harassment and transphobia, then I recommend moving to a different post. My husband, John, and I have always considered ourselves to be LGBT allies, and have raised our kids to support LGBT rights as well. However, we recently discovered that our daughter, Madison, she is 16, was the ringleader in a violent bullying campaign against Kelly, a transgender classmate that sadly attempted to take her own life as a result of the bullying. After looking through Madison's text messages and social media, we were disgusted to find texts of her harassing Kelly, asking if she still had her genitals and telling her she would never be a real girl like her. There were also plans between her and the other girls involved to pull Kelly's pants and underwear down in the school's cafeteria. We also discovered that she was active in TERF communities on various websites, and posted hateful messages calling transgender women perverts and trying to prove that they aren't real women. Obviously, we are taking this very seriously. Her 16th birthday party was cancelled. We've pulled Madison out of her old school and enrolled her in a different one. Her phone and electronics have been taken away for a year. She has started therapy and we have made an appointment with a psychiatrist we also plan to sign her up for an LGBT sensitivity workshop aimed at teens. However, Madison has only doubled down on her behavior. She doesn't seem to show any remorse over what she did and what happened to Kelly, because she thinks she did nothing wrong, and she hasn't taken well to therapy or her new school. She has also attempted to steal her electronics back from my husband and I. I am trying to stay hopeful that the new environments will be good for her, but I am worried, so I decided to come to you all. What else can I do to make Madison realize the gravity of what she did? She has had no social media or phone for almost 2 months now, but she is still very stuck in the TERF mindset. Are there any resources available on how to deter this mindset? I'm unsure of what else to do aside from what we have planned, but I have seen people say that TERF is a gateway into other dangerous beliefs. In the comments, have you asked her what her preoccupation with Kelly is? Why is she so obsessed with this trans kid? And how did that lead to her being on hate groups? I did try to ask her this, why she's so occupied with this girl's identity, but she told me that I wouldn't understand why. I've been hoping that therapy would cause her to open up more, but since the current therapist doesn't seem to be working, I'm going to consult with my husband and try to find a new one. I did also try and get her to see the gravity of the situation by telling her that she took part in something that caused another girl to try and take her own life, and that things would be different if Kelly's attempt had been successful. She told me that she didn't care. I don't know how else to make her see how serious this is. Why do parents resort to taking cell phones, Wi-Fi, PlayStation, etc.? You're making it worse. I'm 32 by the way, reliving my parents' tactics from reading your post. I took my daughter's electronics because she used electronics to spread bigotry and hate against the classmate she bullied and LGBT people. It also helped her to organize the bullying campaign with her friends. I'm sorry that you have terrible memories associated with your parents, but I fail to see how it's relevant here unless you also used social media and group chats to harass another classmate to the point where she felt the need to try and take her own life. I can't imagine how stressful this must be for you and everyone else involved. The online TERF indoctrination is real, and I feel like that's likely what happened here. I think you're taking all the right steps. I don't have much advice, but I think it's important to try and figure out what feelings led to her turning to these beliefs. The TERF community in particular often preys on young girls who feel helpless in a misogynistic society or who have been victimized by men. If you look into it, you'll see many of them have experienced trauma at the hands of men and see trans women as trying to invade their women-only safe spaces to victimize them further. Obviously not an excuse for their beliefs, but that is often where it starts. Therapy is definitely the way to go. To get to the bottom of this, I was resistant to therapy in my teens, but my parents just kept at it and eventually I opened up. Yes. It's been very stressful for me and my husband. Thank you for the advice. I wasn't aware of that, but I will try and get to the bottom of how she got indoctrinated into those spaces. It has been going on for a while, at least because we found over 6 months worth of posts. We plan to continue with therapy. Commenters recommended various articles, videos and groups. Said she would be looking into all of these suggestions and possibly trying a new therapist. This is a reminder. Be kind in the comments. Do not comment on the original posts or contact the op. I am not the original poster. This is a repost. Madison. Does crime using electronics? Takes away electronics. Some Rondo. Why are parents so mean? This story reminds me of my unhappy childhood. Also feel like pointing out not having access to electronics is a punishment IRL judges use against offenders who used such devices to commit their crimes. Of course, some Redditors think Oop is too mean by taking away her daughter's electronics. Woman facepalming. I really feel badly for Oop. She's doing everything right so far. I think deprogramming takes a long time. I hope she stays the course. I wonder if anyone has sat this kid down and explained that what she was planning was sexual assault. I don't know if the kid would care because of the indoctrination. But planning to pants someone in public to expose their genitals is sexual assault, and it does not matter the genitals you are going to expose. This stuff is so gross though, and I hope the daughter improves. I fear the situation has gone too far now and the kid will need to find an internal reason to leave the indoctrination. I did also try and get her to see the gravity of the situation by telling her that she took part in something that caused another girl to try and take her own life, and that things would be different if Kelly's attempt had been successful. She told me that she didn't care. Holy moly. This is a really bad sign. And I honestly feel terrible for the parents having to go through this. No idea how they are going to address such indoctrination and lack of empathy. But I sure hope they manage. Wonder if Madison had a crush on Kelly pre-transition. And the fact that Kelly is transitioning made Madison angry. No matter what, Madison deserves to have her birthday party and electronics taken away. She's a turd. P.S. Loved the spoiler hiding fact. May I suggest a fact about calico cats next? She told her mother she couldn't explain why she was harassing Kelly because the harassment gave her power. She couldn't give a justification for it because there was no justification for hurting someone else like this. She got sucked into an ideology that convinced her it was okay to treat trans people as lesser human beings. Good luck to this mother and everyone who has to deal with what the internet does to their kids. It's not an easy road to get out of for adults, much less children. If that was my daughter, she'd get a Nokia brick. No web browsing, just T9 and a prayer. Gotta love the people going, yeah, she bullied a girl into almost killing herself but taking away her electronics is abusive. Why do parents resort to taking cell phones, Wi-Fi, PlayStation, etc.? You're making it worse. I'm 32 by the way, reliving my parents' tactics from reading your post. Is it just me? Or is it weird when some people miss the forest for the trees? If that commenter was accessing hate rhetoric and instigating acts of bullying, then I think it's obvious that their access should be removed while their parents try to fix things. Doing otherwise is like finding out your teen is an alcoholic but leaving beer around the house. I'm not surprised by the stance of OOP's Mill. She's probably old and stubborn enough to insist that there are only two genders. I wish I knew the answer OOP needs. I wish this was better titled, because it doesn't really get to the heart of the matter. I wonder if it would be better to focus on how it's simply wrong to hurt any person intentionally, instead of focusing on the trans issue specifically. The start may be to get Madison to acknowledge she hurt a person. Even if you disagree with someone, you don't have to emotionally torture that person. That's not right. Madison sees this as political. But we are all human. Perhaps divorcing what she sees as political and instead just focusing on humanity is the key here. If that makes sense. This poor family. The parents are doing the right things, but it may take a while to have an effect. I sullied my search so you don't have to. Per Urban Dictionary, troon is a combo of trans and cartoon or trans and goon. I guess I shouldn't be shocked that these assholes have clever little names for their bigotry. I do hope that the fact that Madison is so young will help her get past this awfulness. But goddamn, she's a real turd right now. I'm not trying to be inflammatory, but it sounds like this kid has been radicalized online and should see a therapist with knowledge and experience of cults and other high-demand groups. God, being a parent in a situation like this is really scary, because at that age it is very difficult to change them. All of these punishments are only making her hateful views more entrenched. But it's not like the parents have another option, since she can't be allowed to keep bullying people in person and online. I hope that therapy is eventually helpful. I think the comment talking about cult deprogramming is right on. It's disgusting how effective the anti-trans movement has become. Even people who would be appalled at this treatment for literally any other group are taking part. When it comes to the trans community, it is absolutely horrifying and one of those things that I hope we quickly can look back on as a black mark in our history. Yikes on bikes. Mother. Oof. I wouldn't even know where to begin to handle this situation. I feel so bad for Oop. She's clearly trying her best. I really hope they do find a way to get through to her daughter.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.